Good morning, good morning, good morning. Actually, it's afternoon. I guess we're at the afternoon point already. What a beautiful sunny day we have here in Connecticut. And hopefully you have the same wherever you live. Let me just switch over and put you on the dash again. So, I already went for my walk today. But I went with my daughter and daughter-in-law and granddaughter, so no talking time at that point. But today's habit for happiness is don't make excuses. So what do you think about that one? That's kind of interesting, right? Don't make excuses. Well, if you've ever read the 4 Agreements, you know that that's in a shortened version, a synopsis of it. That's one of the 4 agreements. And not making excuses means not trying to explain why you did something if somebody else was upset about it or whatever, and you knew you'd done them wrong. Skip the excuse, apologize, try not to do it again, right? So, or do your best to be aware. I think that's the biggest piece of it. Sometimes you get really caught up in how you perceive something versus somebody else perceiving something. And some of it goes back to that, what I talked about before, when somebody else has been very severely damaged or very traumatized by their past and they're not in touch with it. They look at everything as an affront. And use the words, they take offense. So they get caught up in being offended by just about everything, right? And what happens is then they get caught up with blaming others or always being a victim. I see that a lot. No matter what happens, good or bad, I've had people that I know that they always take that victim role, and to the max, unfortunately. So it's kind of annoying, but you know, it's where they're at. Hey guys. Hey Cheryl. So, hey, there's my daughter. Hi.
What are you doing on this road?
I'm on Facebook Live right now.
Are you driving past Christina?
I'm driving past your house and Christina's.
Yeah.
I'm just driving past my daughter's friend's house. We had the drive-by birthday party today. I was actually going to stop at my daughter's house, but I guess she's not there because she's right there in her car. Just took a little shortcut to get there, and she's already on her way out. So I guess that ends that. So in terms of what I was just talking about with people taking offense, so if you know, there's that saying that when you get hurt by somebody else and you don't deal with it, or you don't address it, or you're not working towards releasing that trauma from your body or from your emotional state of mind, then you bleed all over everybody else. And that's literally what happens is your stuff becomes everybody else's problem, and it's hard to find your way through if you don't know how to do that, if you don't have either counseling help or a mentor or someone to help you work through some of those traumas and some of those hurts that happened in the past. Recently we talked about, on one of the earlier ones, I talked about doing the release letter. It's a 3-day process. If anybody wants it, just instant message me and I'll be happy to send it along to you. A friend of mine has it on her website, resonanceoflight.com is her website. If you want to check it out, it's spelled out right there, and it's pretty clear. I've done it probably I think at least 3 times already in the last 4 or 5 years since I've known her. Maybe it's been 6 or 7 years since I've known her, but helps you get rid of all that anger, helps you get rid of all those traumatizing thought processes that happen, and release some of the garbage from your body emotionally. So, hi Carmen. So I had everybody, Jim, Sue, Cheryl, the other Sue. We got a couple Sues from long times ago. Nice to see you guys on. So I think, I don't know about anybody else, but that certainly was my experience and had been my experience in the past where, that the traumas and the things that I had to go through and grow up with carried over. They carried over into my adult life, into my marriage, into some of the things that I did when I raised my kids, where I didn't really know what I was feeling at the time. So I went and got professional help. I mean, that's what you got to do if you want to not hurt everybody and not hurt yourself anymore, more importantly. I also said to myself, I'm my worst enemy at times. So why would I want to continue to hurt myself if I can do something to alleviate that pain, alleviate that anxiety? There was a time where I had, major anxiety attacks. Once when I was traveling with my children, which was very traumatic for them. So, I mean, it's not like I've not been there. I have been there. And it's not pretty. So when those things happen, though, you realize that, you don't want it. I didn't want it to happen again. I didn't want it to continue happening. So you go and you take care of business. Hey, Amber, please say hi to your mom. And I think that's one of the things that's very difficult in life sometimes is recognizing when you've had traumas and, you can't keep making excuses if you won't do anything about it. Like, that's not healthy. It's one thing to recognize you have trauma. It's another thing to, you don't want to just continue to tell people you're sorry and then you still do the same behavior. Being truly sorry means you're going to change your behavior. You're not going to do that thing again. And, everybody has whatever they come into life with. And maybe some of it's from their past lives, if you believe in that. Some of it's from ongoing, traumas that maybe people are living with, which that's no pretty picture either, and so then it continues that cycle, and it's not a healthy cycle. It's not a healthy cycle for children. It's not a healthy cycle for adults, and they're in relationship with others. So you just want to make sure that you can address it in whatever way you can. So for me, not making excuses means I'm willing to look at myself. I'm willing to change my behavior when I recognize that something I'm doing is probably mostly hurting me, but might also be hurting others. And I want to change that. I want to alleviate that from happening in my life and to others. But I think they have an old saying that's hurt people hurt people. And if you listen to what that really means, is that when I'm hurting, there's a tendency for me to hurt others without me even recognizing it at times, or to blame others, or to point the finger, or to not take responsibility for my stuff. And so that's what hurt people means. I will continue to hurt others if I am not taking care of my own side of the street, so to speak. So I think that's super important, and that people recognize, where they can do some help for themselves so that they're not hurting themselves and others all the time, and that they are able to, find some recovery, some healthy attitudes and behaviors, some health in their mental stability, their emotional stability, so they're not making excuses all the time. So that's kind of what I've been thinking about today, with that habit for happiness. What would your life be like if you never had to make an excuse for your behavior again? How freeing would that be? How different would that be from what it is now, maybe? There's still times where I've got to make amends, and say I'm sorry and try to change my behavior on stuff. There is no perfect person out there, and myself included. I'm going to continue to be a human being, doing human things based on how I feel at the time sometimes, but a lot of times I do try to step back and take a look at a bigger picture and make sure that I have some idea of, like, what am I truly trying to get across here, or what am I truly trying to do here, and how do I want to best present myself according to my values. So for me, that's huge. I try to live my life so that I'm not, blaming others or being a victim or any of those things. And there's still plenty of things that irk me, or I'm sure that I do that irk other people, especially the ones closest to you. That's usually the ones that you drive the craziest, right? And most of the time it's because something that they do is the same thing that you do, and that's why it drives them crazy, and that's why it drives you crazy, is you're looking at the same behavior just in a different person. And if you don't like it in yourself, you're certainly not going to like it in somebody else. It's that mirror, when something somebody else does really gets your goat. Pretend they're the mirror. And look back at yourself and go, okay, what part of me does that? What part of who I am is like that? And I think that's a tricky place. Believe me, it takes a lot of self-discovery to be able to do that. Sometimes you have to do it, with the help of a therapist. It's not something you can do on your own, or you're traumatizing yourself more. So don't do that. Go get some professional help. Right now, and with this COVID-19 stuff going on, there's a lot of people doing lots of online options that are for free, and I'm sure you can find some if you do need some mental health help. A lot of people are living with a lot of fear, and it's brought up traumas from the past, because fear exasperates all that. And I've heard a nice acronym for fear the other day. That I thought, how nice to be able to remind myself of this one: forgetting everything is all right. Forgetting everything's all right. It actually is all right. This thing too shall pass. Right now is all right. Right this very moment in my life is all right. And if I can stay in the moment, be present to myself, stay present to those that I care about and want to, keep in my life and maintain relationships with them in my life, everything is all right. So I don't have to live in fear. I don't have to, make excuses for my behavior if I'm doing the right thing for myself. So I think it's important to be reminded of myself to remind myself. That can make me happy, just knowing that. Like, I don't have to make excuses for who I am, and I can be true to myself and who I am, and base that on what I need to do each day to take good care of myself. So today we are super fortunate that we have a bright and sunny day. Let's see, I'm in the car, but I'm parked, so I'm going to get out and I'm going to get you some sunlight there. Here, guys, let's see where we go. Way up above my head here. Wow, look at that sun. Is that gorgeous or what? So I'm going to remind you all again, the sun is always shining. We got beautiful trees starting to bud, and they're all happy. So let's us be happy. I'll just consider that a blessing for today. So that's where we're at, and I hope you have a great day today. Remember, the sun is always shining. It's always got your back, just like your Creator does. And I love you, and I hope you have a spectacular day today and enjoy the outside weather. If you can get outside today to do something good for yourself, take a walk, meditate outside maybe, just do something good for yourself. So signing off for now, and bye for now. I'll see you tomorrow.